And so with all of these charter amendments, expect a lot of these capital improvement projects, 117 in total, to be completed faster within the next couple of months. We do expect, there was a great question last night, when do these charter amendments actually go into effect? And I thought they go into effect as soon as the election is confirmed or certified. That's not the case. What is the case is that after the election is certified, the changes go to the Secretary of State of California, and as soon as they officially enter those into the record, the charter is officially changed. So just talking to the city clerk about that, he said she might just end up going up there and personally herself submitting the paperwork to the Secretary of State to make it official. So that will take a few weeks. It's just basically just a stamp. You submit it, you get a stamp, and then boom, it's done. So big deal there. So CA3 is a gender neutral ballot language. That thing is passing as well. Just so you guys know, CA1 is passing around with a 74% success rate. CA2 is 78% success rate. CA3, which is a 66% pass, or excuse me, 64. CA4, excuse me, is a 72% pass rate. Those deals with all the specifically the charter amendments, charter updates. CA3 is a gender neutrality charter update. That's passing with a 66% pass rate right now. And then CA5, this is the big one for elections. The way we run our elections here in Redondo Beach, that has passed so far with a 77.49% pass. So it's not statistically impossible, but it is pretty much impossible for the remaining 4,000 ballots to flip and then give the no side enough votes so that they do not pass. That's pretty much impossible. It's not statistically impossible. It can happen, but yeah, that's not going to happen, and it's a good thing. Measure CT, which is the cannabis tax, that is passing with a 77% yes vote. That allows the city council to choose a tax rate between 3 and 9% on cannabis products, THC based cannabis products, and then the CBD portion. So cannabis oil, CBD, hemp is a 1 to 3% tax rate, I believe it is. And when I say that the council can choose, that means the council can decide to tax it at 5% or move it up to 8% or move it back down to 5 or 4%, as if government ever moves taxes downwards. So it gives the city council the leverage to be able to move the tax rate up and down. Right now in our agreement we have for cannabis, the franchise fee is set at 5%. So probably expect us, maybe with the new council, I don't know, maybe the new council will in April will decide to do a 3% tax. We'll see. So that rounds out the ballot measures. The members of Board of Education, that is the school district. There's Byung Cho, Jerome Chang, Raymer Flynn. Raymer Flynn is the incumbent. She got 35% of the vote. All people can vote for 2 of the positions. Byung Cho got 34% of the vote, and Jerome Chang, second time running, got 30% of the vote. Not impossible at all for him to catch up, but I don't know his numbers that well, where he was strongly performing. We'll get to that in a minute regarding the precincts and how different the precincts are, or excuse me, precincts and districts actually. So very unlikely he'll be able to catch up, but there is definitely ability for him to catch up to the second place finisher, and it's the top 2 vote getters in that category. Let me go back to measure CA5 real quick. I don't know if I thoroughly explained that measure CA5, but that gets rid of the runoff elections in Redondo Beach. So that way we have the ability to just have one election with a 50% plus one requirement remains. But if there were three candidates and not all three candidates, or not a single candidate gets 50% plus one vote. So if one candidate gets 48% and the other ones get 25, 26%, 27 right in there, then they go, the top two vote getters get to go to a runoff campaign. So the ballot measure, what it does is it does not specify a specific type of instant runoff system. It says the city council can choose the type of instant runoff voting system, and that allows the city council to use a different system in case there are issues with the one that we did choose. Because this is really important. Why we worded it this particular way was because it gives the city council the flexibility to fix problems if they arise moving forward. And rather than if there's a problem, what would have to, if we have a solution or whatever the solution may be, it would have to go to a vote of the people one more time in order to fully fix the problem for the next voting go around. We have to either have a special election or have it in the next go round of election process. So there'd be a lag time and there'd be no way to tell necessarily if we'd be able to fix it. So that kind of gives us the leeway to go down that path. Let's see, citywide. This is I'll spend a few minutes here. Citywide election for the city of Redondo. We have the city treasurer's office. We have an elected city treasurer's office. The only qualification you need to manage $117 million worth of assets, city assets, is be 18 years old and live in the registered to vote, or I say registered to vote and living in the city for 30 days. And within the scope of registered to vote, got to be 18 years old. So you can be in high school and well, live in a city for 30 days. So you could be in high school and win the city treasurer's race as long as you're 18 by the date of the election. That is all the qualifications you need for that position. So we have our current city treasurer did not run for re-election, which means it's an open seat. And there are two candidates. It was Eugene Solomon and Matthew Kilroy. Matthew Kilroy is a two-term council member and current commissioner on the Harbor Commission. And Eugene Solomon has been on the Budget and Finance Commission for many, many, many years. He's currently on the General Plan Advisory Committee and as well on the Charter Commission. In fact, we can thank Eugene Solomon for the CA1, CA2, and CA3 ballot initiatives that allow the changes in contracting and the amounts that have to required to go out to bid. That kind of was, those were his babies, especially CA1 and CA2. It's really going to help out city staff. He really fought for those, and it's going to make a big deal. But that's not really what Eugene Solomon is known for. He's known for being the $100 million man who saved the city $100 million. He fought for and won a refinancing of our pension debt, employee debt, pension debt obligation. I'm sure many of you have heard around the state of California, CalPERS, the state agency that manages our retirement system for employees, for state employees and city employees. They are not doing a good job, let's just say. And we are not fully funding in cities the way the calculation was made years ago. And so we had a $226 million debt for employee obligations, which is not unheard of for any other city. Most cities all cities are exactly on the same camp, unless you do exactly what we did, which is refinance that debt. So our $226 million obligation has a 7% interest rate. We refinanced that. We bought a bond for 2.83%. And we took that bond money and paid off our pension debt obligation. That's going to save us $100 million, at least at minimum. And he fought, Eugene Solomon fought for that. He so far has 53.3% of the vote versus Matt Kilroy, 46% of the vote. And I'm going to go over this election in a lot of detail. And the reason why is you'll see how different it is, these numbers. So let's just start off with District 1. So District 1, 60-40%. There's 2 precincts in every single district. And there's roughly 10,000 voters, 9,800 plus or minus right in there. And in District 1 of the 2 precincts, Eugene Solomon won with 60% of the vote, 60-40 split. In the southern precinct of District 2, he won with 63% of the vote. In the northern portion of District 2, he won with 68% of the vote. So that leaves us to District 3. On the west side, there's broken up again in 2 pieces. The west side of District 3, it was a 50-50 breakdown, a literal 50-50. It was Eugene got 50.17 and Kilroy got 49.9 something, right? Or 8 something. On the east side of the district, Eugene Solomon got Matt Kilroy got 57% of the vote, and Eugene Solomon got 43. So you can tell in that district alone, on the 2 sides of the district, how the voters have voted differently. Going to District 4, up in the Golden Hills area, that was one of the precincts. Eugene Solomon won with 60% of the vote, 60-40 split. But on the opposite side of the district, Matt Kilroy won with 51%. So it flipped. Again, flipped. So that shows you how different, again, that entire district can be and how voters vote different in different areas. Now let's go to District 5, and this is really interesting. On the southern district or southern portion of the district, Matt Kilroy won with 59% of the vote, and Eugene Solomon lost with 41%. Well, on the northern half of that district, Matt Kilroy won with 65%. So you'll see throughout the city how voters vote differently, and it's a big deal because it shows you how voters understand candidates. Mr. Kilroy is from District 5. He's a 2-term council member up in District 5. He was up there for 8 years, so people know him. He's voted up there twice, so that made a difference. It ends up being, when they say about name recognition, that's one of the reasons why, right there, name recognition. So let's see here if I have any questions online. If anyone has any questions, you can just throw them into the chat, either online for Facebook or onto the Zoom, or just raise your hand as well, or break in and you can go ahead and just ask anything you like. I don't see any hands up right now. All right, so this brings me to the next, what is nextly important, which is the District 3 council race. And in that race, you've got a very tight race. Candace Nafisi is behind by 91 votes. And let me see if I can have the exact numbers here real quick. Bring those up for you. Download them all. Okay, downloads. I believe it's 47%, 52. So of their 1,700 votes cast, Candace Nafisi got 47%, Paige got 52%. That's Candace is behind 991. So people understand the district, how they voted, the precincts. Candace got 55% roughly in one of the precincts, and Paige got 45. And essentially on the other side, Paige got 58% of the vote, and Candace got respectively 42% of the vote. So and what's important is the amount of people that showed up to vote. There were more people in the west side of the district that showed up to vote. It represented, I believe, 55%, 60% of the vote, right in there, of the total vote. So makes a big difference as to what neighborhood you are in. And there are about 4,000 votes to be counted in left to be counted. So there were roughly 2,800 votes in on 2,800 votes on the night of that still need to be verified and counted. The next day, 500 votes were picked up out of the mailbox. The next day, 800. And then I'm not sure, around 200 or so, I want to say, subsequently after that, since then. So there's roughly, like I said, 4,000 votes plus or minus exactly. They haven't released exact numbers yet because people need to verify signatures. There were a bunch of people who voted whose signatures did not match their ballot. I got a quick question here. I said the person that voted was for ranked choice voting system for the runoff votes. So yes, it is for ranked choice voting, CA5. But there can be different versions, different interpretations, or different implementations of ranked choice voting. And so that's why we didn't say specifically ranked choice, this particular version of ranked choice voting. We use the term instant runoff voting system because there is star voting as well. But what we're looking at is implementing ranked choice. And we wanted to keep it flexible enough for us to be able to modify the system if in case we had an issue with the results. So that is why you saw we built it the way we did. So let's see here. All right. Let's see, 52, 55%, 45. Okay, so that brings us, I think, to the election results from last week. We went over the ballot measures, went over the treasurer's office, District 3, and then the Board of Education. So that brings up to that one. Like I said, tomorrow at noon will be the final vote count. So everyone that has cast a ballot by 8 p.m. last week, Tuesday, received in the mail by Monday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday, yesterday. It will be counted. If you put your ballot into the mailbox or the drop off on Monday, either one of the two, the drop off or the mailbox, it was not counted yet. It will be counted tomorrow. They only counted ballots up until, I believe, last week, Friday. So if you, in fact, so I think it's Saturday as well. So if you put your ballot in the mail on Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, that ballot has not been counted yet. It will be counted tomorrow. They have verified that signature. And I believe yesterday was the last day to verify the signature. If your signature did not match, you should have gotten a letter and or a phone call from the city clerk's office. And this is actually an important item for everyone to know. It is imperative that you keep your contact information with the LA County Registrar up to date, whether it's an email or phone number. The reason why, and I would recommend everyone puts in their cell phone number, because a lot of information comes from the LA County Registrar's office as well as our city clerk's office regarding voter verification. If your vote was verified, if your vote was received, and if you don't have your correct information there, you just have your address, then by the time you get the letter saying that your signature didn't match, might not be enough time for you to go down and get the signature fixed. So really want to I get a lot of emails from constituents and people. I didn't give you my email address. I just want to let you know, I get emails from the LA County Registrar. I pay for it as an elected official. I have access to that. And that's how I get in contact with a lot of constituents to let you guys know what's going on. That's why I send emails out about community meetings like tonight. And by giving that information, you allow city clerks and elected officials to get a hold of you and let you know what's going on. So it's very important that you that you let us know what's going on, or excuse me, that you keep your information updated so that we can let you know what's going on, especially for elections, because they can let you know if your vote was cast and or counted. So let's see here, going back to my agenda. All right. Project Moonstone on PCH. So last night we had a meeting at City Council under the Housing Authority. And it was about changing our housing authority, the way we implement the housing authority system, our plan, the way we give out vouchers, adding something called a project-based voucher. So right now, if you are under Section 8 Redondo Beach, you get what's called a program-based voucher, which means you can get a voucher and then you can go to any apartment landlord and use that voucher. You get up to, I think, for a single room, $2,800. I'm doing $2,000, I want to say. And then if you have family, you get up to $2,200 for that voucher. It is up to you to find the location. It is up to you, it's up to the landlord to accept the Section 8 program. They do not have to accept the Section 8 program. And what's important about that is the landlords that are part of the program, you get a guaranteed check, and your tenant gets a check in on the interior as well. So that the program itself sends out people who checks to make sure that, you know, they're not renting out to 5 other people, or they're keeping the place clean. And they also doing a site inspection on the building itself. So it's essentially a free site inspection, make sure that everything is up to date. Now that's the program-based voucher system. There is something called a project-based voucher system, and we amended our program, our administrative program last night to accept project-based vouchers. What does that mean? That means that Project RoomKey on PCH, Project Moonstone on PCH, they will be able to accept vouchers that we give out specifically for that location. So why is that important? Well, Project Moonstone on PCH, we did not, the city is not running that program as a state program. That is where the state has come in with a partner, a 501c3 called Century Housing, and they bought the motel and they're converting the motel to a 20-unit long-term subsidized housing apartment house. And by us amending our voucher program, we can give out vouchers for this project to individuals who have a connection with Redondo. The plan is, since a lot of the people who have been living in the pallet shelter program haven't been able to find permanent supportive housing, we can move out a lot of the people that are currently living in that location at the pallet shelter program to this location. So that ends up opening up 15 beds, or 20 beds, I should say, 20 pallet shelters. That means we can go out now to the community. We have roughly 94, 95 people who have been identified as homeless, which is down 40% from 160 something, I want to say 165 to 95, I want to say it is. And that gets another 20 people off the streets. Well, why is that important now? Well, because that means with these lower numbers and having a pallet shelter program in place, the percentage of people who are homeless and the beds that we have available, if we have an available bed, or this, what we're doing allows us to enforce our anti-camping laws. And so our anti-camping laws cannot be thoroughly enforced right now because we don't have an open bed for them to go to, someone on the street. So by doing this, it is a way we can get people off the streets into permanent supportive housing, and first pallet shelter, and then into permanent supportive housing. Our homeless programs are completely designed around people who have a connection, a direct connection to Redondo Beach. So if you've lived in Redondo Beach for some point for a year or more, went to high school here, or you have relatives here, you're eligible for the pallet shelter program and or the Project Moonstone program. So the last thing I'll say on this item is that LA City, Santa Monica, and some other cities that have had a large influx and community of homeless individuals are starting to do what's called cleanup, site location cleanup. What does that mean to the everyday person? That means, or encampment cleanups, I should say. That means if you see, like when you go to other cities and you see an encampment on a sidewalk, a city cannot enforce anti-camping because they don't have a place for these people to go. Well, what cities have done is said, we're going to open up a pallet shelter program for these 20 encampments, 20 people, 20 encampments in this particular location. We are going to do a site cleanup for this location. We are going to offer them a bed, a pallet shelter. If they don't take this pallet shelter, we can ask them to get up and move, and we can do a cleanup, a general cleanup on site. Well, they're doing that. Other cities are become very proactive. Venice Beach has done that. What happened in Venice Beach on the boardwalk? You guys all remember what happened there with the sheriff coming down? Where do you think those individuals went? They went to cities like Culver City that didn't have a prepared program. Culver City is now spending $10 million a year in the form of pallet shelters, long-term supportive housing. They bought a motel. They're converting that motel to apartments. There are other cities that aren't doing any of this. Well, now suddenly their homeless population is increasing dramatically. Well, we in Redondo, while the rest of the county has gone up or been the same, we in Redondo are one of very few cities that have actually gone down as a whole. So we have some tools. We're utilizing those tools. And it's through the incredible efforts, as the commenter here, Melissa, you said, through some people like Lila Omura. Just the other day, I saw a post from Lila. There was an alleyway right here in District 1, actually, someone who's been living in the alleyway. Our beaches, for instance, I worked Dockweiler the other day, and I'll tell you, if you take your bike along the bike path, you will see maybe half of the encampments that are in Dockweiler because the bike path covers up, or the encampments are in an area where you can't see from the bike path. We don't have any encampments, knock on wood, on our beaches. We don't have people sleeping on our beaches. Yeah, they do show up. Yes, they do pitch a tent. They do sleep for a few nights, but because we have these services in place, people like Lila who are out there all the time, continuously saying hello, following up, we don't have these encampments being created. And that is the number one thing that we can do as a community, is to report encampments or people laying down and sleeping overnight in areas, because Lila doesn't know that they're there. She only knows if people report that. And I've worked very closely with the lifeguards down the beaches, especially in the summer months. For some reason, it's a higher number in the summer months, to report it to the city, and it's report it through LAHSA. This is Los Angeles Housing Service Authority meeting, and we get people services, and Lila is fantastic at getting those services. I'm going to diverge just for a second about homelessness here. Last week, Thursday, I had a meeting with LA County CEO, Fija Davenport. Miss Davenport is the equivalent to a city manager. So if you know what a city manager is, I, as a council member and the council as a whole, we have one employee, and that's our city manager. The city manager manages every single employee in the city. So all the department heads and all the department, anything that happens in the city, that's the city manager who's in charge. And so we manage the city manager, city manager employee, or manages the rest of the employees. That's how it works. I can't tell a department head what to do. I can't tell an individual employee what to do. So to that effect, Miss Davenport, who's on the job for about a year now, just over a year, January of 2022, she called me about a month and a half ago on my personal cell phone and said, "Hey, you're the president of Independent Cities Association. We here in the county don't have a relationship with your cities, or a really good relationship with your cities, I should say, unlike the cities that contract services with the county. And so we'd like to have a meeting with you." And the intent of the meeting was twofold. It was A, talk about the Local Solutions Fund, and B, Measure H. What does those two mean? Real simple. Local Solutions Fund, last year, $10 million, reoccurring every single year, $10 million worth of funding. They increased at the $5 million more to $15 million. Last year, they only gave out $5 million in the Local Solutions Fund. And they said, we funded every single grant that came in, and we were only able to give away $5 million. So we're here to come to you and tell you that we have this fund. It's now 15 instead of 5. We're looking to give this money away. We're not getting applications. What can we apply for in Redondo Beach for these applications? Pallet shelter program, Lila, who's our homeless outreach coordinator, many other services, fully fund a lot of the services that we're doing. As I said a few minutes ago about encampment cleanups, well, they have programs that if we have an encampment here in Redondo Beach, they will fully fund the entire program. So if we go through and create an application as we have an encampment at X location, and it consists of about 5 or 10 individuals, we're going to offer them services. We're going to offer them a pallet shelter. We're going to offer them beds. We're going to offer them anything that we need to move forward. We're going to clean the place up because it needs cleanup. They will fund everything. Public works, they will fund cleaning, they will fund services, they will fund the police, all the time from city staff. They're willing to work with us on that because they know that that is one of the ways that we can get services out there and get people to accept services. Measure H 2.0 or Measure H. So Measure H with a 1% sales tax in LA County. The money goes into a fund. LA City did the identical sales tax called Measure HHH. That 1% also goes in the same exact fund. There's a program, there's a joint powers agreement between LA County and LA City. It's called LAHSA, Los Angeles Housing Service Authority. LA County understands that this authority has not performed well. The return on investment has been not good, to say the least. They understand that. They've heard that. The other thing that they've heard from cities, and I'll just give a roundabout number for, say, for instance, City of Torrance. City of Torrance gives, through Measure H, $10 million, roughly speaking, to this fund. They get back a couple $100,000. That is not weird. It's very typical. Right off the top, LA City takes roughly 50% of the funding from cities like Torrance, Redondo, South Bay. The local return, so if we put in 10, the local return to cities has been abysmal. Some cities put in 0, they get a lot, they get a ton back. Some cities put in a ton and they get very little back or nothing back. They know, they being the county, knows that this Measure H has to go back to a vote of the people in 2028 or 2028 or 26, 28, I believe, 26 could be. And they know it's going to have to be Measure H 2.0, and they're going to change the structure to ensure communities like us that are doing things and being successful, we get a larger percentage back, or all the money back, or even more of the money back. And they're listening, and they know and they hear that it hasn't been, this program Measure H hasn't been working right. LASA hasn't been working right. They're looking for solutions. That's why they're proactively going out. So the project Moonstone was partially funded by Measure H funds by the county. The county was the local partner. The state of California was the primary partner. They put in the full amount for that. And City of Redondo is not a local partner. We have nothing to do with that, so to speak, or that program, Project Moonstone location. So what's important is we have amended our local housing program for project-based vouchers. Now we're able to get individuals from pallet shelter or other individuals in Redondo that are living in their car, living month to month on couch surfing, to this permanent supportive housing on Moonstone Park. We spent a fair amount of time on Saturday discussing the details of Project Moonstone. We spent some good time last night talking about Project Moonstone, what's happening. Interesting things have been happening. Since we're giving out project-based vouchers, we can filter the people that will be, we are giving these vouchers out to. That means we can say, hey, are you from Redondo? Yes. Are you, do you have any current arrests or warrants out on you? No. Yes or no. Do you have mental health issues and require on-site services? In that case, the answer is no, we're not, this is not the location for you. So we are in effect for Century Housing. We'll be acting as the finder of residents. They won't just take anyone in this particular location, meaning they can't just take someone off the street. They have to be stabilized. They have to have some form of income. And then they have to abide by certain rules. And what we're doing here in Redondo is ensuring that we have getting people directly from Redondo. I'm saying that very like that because that's what we're trying to do. I want to be very clear with people that since this is not our project Moonstone is not our project in Redondo, the county is working with them, Century Housing. Century Housing could take anyone from what's called SPA 8, Service Provider Region 8. The county is broken up into multiple regions. We are SPA 8, Service Access Region 8. And that means they could take anyone from Gardena, Inglewood, Long Beach, Hawthorne, Carson, and have those people there at this particular location. So by working with them and changing our housing program, we can make sure and ensure that they're Redondo residents first, and have certain requirements in there of the individuals that we give a voucher to. So that's kind of the overall scope on that. If there's any questions, feel free to just start speaking up or raise your hand. I don't see, let me see if there's any comments here online. I don't see any comments right now, I don't think. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Mark Stratton, you just joined. Actually, I just went over the project Moonstone location. Oh, I don't want to forget. So at the end of my meeting last night, the Kitty Council meeting last night, anyone that was up until 11:15, 11:30 last night, I asked two questions. Both dealt with the city attorney's office, and one of the questions was directly for the city attorney on this project Moonstone location. And I asked very specifically, hey, what's the deal with bringing back an ordinance to make sure we have an anti-camping ordinance around this Project Moonstone location? And what's up with the what's going on with the ordinance for the coastal zone for Veterans Park and the harbor? The city attorney has said that he has stopped as of now. Last month, the city attorney has stopped doing anything and everything homeless related, and that the only thing he's doing in Redondo Beach regarding homeless is the homeless court. So he has taken up and said that I will be the answer and solution for all these homeless services that are happening in Redondo. And he's taken multiple tacks and basically said as well that it was forced upon him. Now he's saying he wants nothing to do with it, and he's going to be moving it all, or has moved it all, to the city staff. So our city manager, he has the full ability to manage that program and all the programs that we're doing. Here's what's important about that is we have the resources. The city attorney's office is not the best resource for getting grants, finding grants, for getting services. That's not what the city attorney's office does. They do legal work. They file lawsuits. They defend lawsuits. They write ordinances. So that gives us a huge opportunity to move forward for getting and working with other cities, getting more grants, and moving forward in a different direction. The city attorney last night said that we will not be able, well, he was supposed to come back with an ordinance or update our current anti-camping ordinance around the pallet shelter. So no camping around the pallet shelter, to update that to include the Project Moonstone location. He has now said that I'm not working on that anymore. I'm not giving an opinion on that anymore, and that I am I don't know if that's possible to do. And said also regarding the ordinance that's in the coastal zone for the anti-camping at Veterans Park and the harbor, I'm not working on that. That's not my department regarding anything homeless. That is a complete 180-degree turnaround from what motion I made a few months ago in December. That's as far as I'll go on that. It's a 180-degree turnaround all the way through. And then he said, when we had some speakers come down yesterday evening, regarding, hey, we've been sending in requests to talk to you about Project Moonstone. We have questions, we want answers. Our city attorney is an elected city attorney. He reports to the residents. Our city attorney says, I don't report to the residents. I don't give answers to the residents. I can't give legal opinions. There's a legal reason, mumble jumble as to what he gave. Well, I'll tell you right now, I was on a Zoom meeting this morning with the city attorney, Michael Gates of Huntington Beach. He was talking about the newest housing lawsuit that the state of California has thrown against him. He has he meets directly with residents. He meets with other elected officials. He had a Zoom meeting with myself and 40 other people, other elected officials and residents from around the Southern California area. He can meet with the community all day long and have meetings. He's an elected official. He can do what he wants. So it's going to be interesting to see how we're going to be moving forward with that type of input from the city attorney's office. So we'll see in April. I believe it's coming back. I think the motion that was passed first meeting in April, I want to say, it's coming back with an update for Project Moonstone for the ordinances that we can update, as well as a homeless program overall, what's going on in the homeless programs that we're doing here at Redondo Beach. So we'll get an update on the pallet shelter program regarding how many people have gone into the program, how many people moved on to permanent supportive housing, Project Moonstone as well. And the last thing I'll talk about with regarding homelessness and Project Moonstone is they do not have their permits yet. What they did was ask for extensions, I believe. The state of California runs that program for them. We don't run it. We're not a part of it. It's there's been brought up regarding last night regarding square footage and the notice of funding and what's called NOFA. And basically what was explained last night is what the state did was we're going to give a grant award out to cities, and we're going to circumvent all CEQA, which is California Environmental Quality Act. We're going to circumvent all your zoning laws, and we will grandfather in all of the motels that are bought into apartment buildings. So at the end of the day, this is a state program, and we're moving forward. We're going to make this as successful as we possibly can, and make this a long term, because this is going to be long term down there. So, if anyone has any questions, let me know. Raise your hand. We're going to move on to some other items. Let's see here. Let me check the Facebook. So, okay, so next up, we got a bunch of other smaller items on our agenda last night, these last few days, last few weeks. The new council members and new city treasurer will be sworn in on the first meeting in April, which is April 4th. That's coming up. Smaller items to report. So what do we have here? Let me show you some photos. So let me share my screen. We'll go through these photos here. So everyone see that photo there, the dog park? That's the dog park. I want to thank Gil at the Friends of the Dog Park. They had a what's it called? Eagle Scout project. He raised a bunch of money, got some volunteers, and they went through and started building. Oh, can I not move? Hold on. Let me stop my screen share for 1 second. It's not quite working the way. There you go. This is what they built. This was donated by SoCal Gas, this big black tube right here. It might just look like a black pipe, which it is, but that thing costs money. Good money at that. So Southern California Edison, SoCal Gas, excuse me, let me give the correct utility their due. SoCal Gas gave that as a donation, along with some money. And oh man, do I not have? Oh yeah, here we go. Built this device here as well. This is kind of a training ground for the dogs at the dog park, and wanted to thank the Gil Friends of Dog Park, which is a 501c3. They also have an event coming up on March 26th, Sunday, March 26th. Dog equipment collection, dog equipment free giveaway, as well as spade and neutering for animals, and registration of animals, of dogs. So if you have a dog and you go in over, you are over a certain age, I think you get it for free, or the first 20 people, first 30 people, and then after that it's a reduced rate for spade and neutering and free registration. And I believe also after that they have discounted programs for people who are for seniors, I believe, free programs. So let's see here. So next up, we've got the Super Bowl fun run here. Just so everyone knows, it was a fantastic year for the Chamber of Commerce. They had thousands of runners, had great turnout. It was a beautiful day in early February, I believe it was, first weekend of February. They had the 10K at 7:15 a.m. and then the 5K at 8:15 a.m. So as you can see, this is the start of the 5K right in front of Sonesta Hotel. And it was a fantastic event. Oh, that's me. It's Ms. Davenport there, CEO of LA County. A good time. All right. So this is a thing that needs to be fixed. All right. So this light here, you guys see this? If you notice around in our community right now, we are, you'll notice the sidewalks, crossings, stop signs are all being repainted. And you'll notice it's the thick paint. It's not the cheapo paint. And why is that important? Because it is hot and way more reflective, and it is longer term, longer lasting. Let's see here. Let me show you one photo. This is, if any of you guys have been in the Riviera Village. Pull this photo up. Share screen. This here is a new stop sign in the Riviera Village. You might notice this one. It's right outside Trader Joe's, that little intersection. New paint, new stop sign. Why is this here? Well, because this road right here is going to be one way. You see these cars that are leaving right here? This area right here, this is going to be one way. So as you leave this parking area here, you'll only be able to go this way. And then you'll have to circle all the way around to get back into the parking area. So that's coming in the next few weeks. Oops, let me erase that. Stop. This is the stop sign that's there. There's a significant amount of traffic improvements that are going to be happening in the Riviera Village. And speaking of village and things that are happening, it takes a village to do things. And this is our newest community garden at Alta Vista. I want to thank South Bay Parklands for providing the volunteers and the workers and money, volunteers, money, workers. There's 2 city staff that were there from Public Works, Mike Klein, and another one from someone else from City Public Works. This is the USC Club. Anyone can help them. When I drove by at 9:15 a.m. last week, these boxes didn't exist. When I showed up at 12 p.m. within a matter of 3 hours, every single one of these boxes were built. And they completed the project, including the box there in the back. And the first person I saw there was someone who is the mother of Kenny Campos. Kenny Campos is a new fire captain of Redondo Beach Fire Department. He got recently promoted in the last few months. He got promoted, I want to say, 6 months, 8 months maybe. And his mom was there volunteering away. And Kenny wasn't there because he just spent 6 days working at the fire station. So these are the new planter boxes that are at the community garden. If you notice, high quality material, high quality everything, doing it right. And if you notice, there's a right here mesh on the bottom. That is so the gophers can't get into these planter boxes. So kind of cool. A lot of work going on. They have a whole plan. They're executing. This is their 3rd volunteer weekend day. They volunteered this weekend and last weekend. And then a few months ago, they built this whole fence as well. So this is all a community-driven project, community-driven event funding. a group from USC is helping out Eagle Scout project. I believe there's two Eagle Scout projects that are happening. Let's talk about the harbor just for a second. This harbor right here, you notice these rocks? This is kind of hard to see, and I'll just kind of annotate this right here. This, you'll see here, this is kind of there's a little bit of a hole here. If you notice these rocks right here, and this rock right here, these rocks used to be where this big area is up in here. And
Hey, Nils, can you hear us?
I think we've been dropped.
Ah,
All right, sorry about that, everyone. I'm getting my my connection back. I have some computer issues. Computer decided to reboot on me. Sorry about that. Give me about 30 seconds, a minute, and I will have my agenda back up. No one can hear it. Yeah, one sec. I'm getting my connection back up and running. I'll be right back up.
Recording in progress.
All right. There you go. Sorry about that, folks. My computer crashed on me or something happened. All right. Going back to where I was leading off at in the harbor, or can we get that photos open? I took a tour of the harbor with the fire department, and the fire department showed me a damage to the recent break wall that had sustained from the massive waves, and rocks are literally breaking off or falling off or being pushed off of the break wall into the water, and there are holes being left in the break wall. And let me show you again one more time. Hopefully the computer doesn't crash again. Share screen. Let me show this to everyone. There you go. All right, so if you can see these rocks right in here, those are all rocks, and these are all rocks. Those rocks came from on top of the break wall, believe it or not. They were literally pushed these last few weeks into the ocean. So and it shows you the work that we've been asking to do here in the harbor. It needs to get done sooner than later. I know down at King Harbor, the King Harbor Yacht Club, they have a bunch of other rocks or that issues as well. This shows you right here the harbor at the entrance. So this right here, these rocks, these old rocks, these brown looking rocks, those were the original rocks that were placed by the city in the 1960s, I believe it is. And then these rocks you see up here with this kind of this level right here, that's the new set of rocks. And the reason why is because through the years, there's what's called settlement that's happened, and the settlement brought in the storm of 1983 for the El Nino storm. The waves crashed right over that and destroyed the Portofino restaurant. So you can see that here in these pictures. Very interesting to go out there and see that for yourself. This is ballot counters. This is what it looks like at City Hall. The city clerk's office is opening the ballots. This was last night. This is them opening up the ballots. You'll see right here. They're opening up the ballots. You can see that right here, that these are the ballots, and then the envelopes are right here on the other side, and you can tell they have to open 4,000 ballots roughly, and they will be counted tomorrow. Tomorrow morning they will start counting the ballots and report at noon the final vote count. So expect a final vote count tomorrow around noon. This is part of my tour in the harbor. If you can notice, this is me pushing the concrete piling. That is me literally pushing the concrete piling right there. Show that to you one more time. It's broken off down underneath the water. That's some of the damage from both storm and age related issues in the harbor. It's part of the infrastructure updates that we're doing. We have a contract with a firm to replace these pier pilings, and they will also be taking out the old sports fishing pier. So it's kind of interesting to see. So let me stop the screen share. I think there's a couple more photos I wanted to show you guys on that. And that is, let me see here. Let's see here. Nope, that's it for that. All right. Walkway repair update. So this is the walkway on Avenue, the upper walk path. Let me share this screen. This is the upper walk path. The county is responsible for this upper walk path. This should be done here in the next few weeks. This walk path will have new drainage. We'll have new lighting and will be completely redone. It is obviously closed to the public. It's roughly 300 feet, 400 feet of walk path. This was literally falling off, as you can see here on the left-hand side, draining and taking the slope with it. So emergency repairs from LA County, they should be done here in the next few weeks. Speaking of harbor and things that are happening here in the next few weeks, that's another view. This is the skateboard park in the harbor. This is going to be the first official skateboard park in the city of Redondo Beach. Torrance has a skateboard park. Manhattan Beach has a skateboard park. Hermosa Beach has a skateboard park. LA City and San Pedro, they had an illegal one. They converted that to a legal skateboard park. Venice obviously has it. Gardena. I mean, all these cities, Lomita has skateboard parks. All these cities have skateboard parks. So we don't have one. Well, now we're going to have our first official skateboard park. We have one up at Perry Park right now. It's just a small little one. It's a couple of ramps. But as you can tell here from this particular photo, this is an entire skateboard park zone. And what's so cool about this is it is being designed to be a multi-use location. So you can still do yoga down there. You can still do concerts down there. We can still do all the things that we're currently doing down there. So the times that's not being used, it's just a family-friendly attraction, somewhere for the kids to go. Right now in the Riviera Village, you'll notice there's some kids who are skateboarding in a bunch of different locations, and they will now have a place to go. And if you notice this white stuff here, that's all styrofoam. They put concrete on top of styrofoam, and it's going to look really cool, really cool. So we're spending roughly $200,000 on this. It's coming out of our parks fund. And let's see what else. A good little view there for that. And then other than that, that brings me to the end of the harbor items and the beach items. So what else do I have here? That brings me to almost the end. A couple things to announce. We have the extravaganza at Franklin Park on April 1st, I believe, 10 o'clock. Let me check that to make sure. I messed up on the date on that last night, or the location. Let me look at that for sure. Redondo.org. 10 to 12 at Franklin Park. Sunday, April 1st. Let me make sure. Very popular event. And that's the only events that I can report to you right now that the city has going on in the next 2-3 weeks. We just had on the pier, we had the Kite Festival on Sunday. And that's it. So oh, Hermosa Beach had their what's it called? Their St. Patrick's Day parade. So that's it. Extravaganza on April 1st, free event 10 to 12, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Go ahead and put it into the chat. Raise your hand. I will look at the chat right now. And let me check online. I don't see anything in the chat. Let me go ahead and check on Facebook. And if there's no questions online, then I will going to see you guys next month. Oh, one way. Oh, sorry, I did not see that. I see a bunch of. Oh, there you go. Out of 30,000, only 4,000. Actually, I see a bunch of comments here. They all popped up now a minute ago. 5 minutes ago. There you go. So Terry, you had a question about the advantage of a one-way street by Trader Joe's. The advantage is that is an uncontrolled area. So if you guys notice, just for a second, a minute ago, I talked about the stop sign that's been added at Trader Joe's there at that location. The problem is everyone just walks across without necessarily looking. Cars are going through. It's kind of a gauntlet. The old game Frogger. The idea here is by making it one way, you only have to look one way. Hopefully you look the right way, and the cars won't have to dodge each other through the incoming and outgoing. You can only go one way, so you don't have to. Not everyone's looking in every single direction possible. We're also going to be putting in what's called a pedestrian pathway or hump, elevated pedestrian path right where Trader Joe's is at. So hopefully people will get guided to that location and cross the street that way. Making it safer is the intention there. Mary Shamus, so there were 48,000 ballots that were cast. 7,052 were counted the first night, and roughly 4,000 more are going to be counted in total, which gives us about 21% turnout rate. That is a low turnout rate. Our special election had a higher turnout rate in October, so it was on people's minds. So other than that, if anyone has any events to report other than farmers markets on Sunday in Revere Village and farmers market at Veterans Park on Thursdays, or any other comments, go ahead and raise your hand or put them on Facebook. What else? I think that's it. So I don't see anything. I will see everyone in April. The second weekend of April is April 8th, Alta Vista Community Center, 9:30 a.m. And a week or two thereafter, we'll have an online community meeting, and we will bring in the new electeds as well. We'll have them all come by and say hello as well. Give 5 minutes if they have time. We meet the new city treasurer, new District 3 council member, new District 5 council member, and maybe school board as well. And then you guys can say hello. So next month we will have a new city council, and I will see you all then. Thank you very much.